guys, AstroCass here, back with another quick astrology update. This one, as I said in my last video, is just an astrology little video series, like a quick little one that I wanted to do on the synastry charts for Taylor Swift, and I'm doing Maddie Healy, which I've already done, so hopefully you've watched that one. Today we're doing Post Malone, Taylor Swift and Post Malone synastry, and then I'm going to look at Taylor and Joe Alwyn's synastry, and then finally we'll do Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's synastry. So I'll be putting out 4 separate videos, just quickly chatting about their synastry, their chart, just kind of what I think and see. Obviously, I'm not going to mention every single little thing. I'm not going to go into everything because there is just so much in synastry charts to kind of go through, but I just thought it'd be fun because, you know, she's trending. She's brought out a new album and like everyone's speculating. There's so much rumors about her relationships. And I just thought it'd be fun to jump in and have a look and a bit of a chat about, you know, what astrology kind of shows or tells us about their relationships. So I thought we could have a bit of fun with that. But thank you so much for joining me on my channel today and for joining me for this little chit chat. As always, if you want to have a bit of an input or share any of your thoughts, ideas, or what you've kind of noticed in the astrology chart that maybe I haven't spoken about or that I might have missed, definitely comment below. I love to talk to you guys, and I'll definitely reply and respond as soon as I can. And I love hearing you guys kind of talk in their comments as well. But also, if you do enjoy this video, don't forget to give me a like, a thumbs up. It will really help me with the algorithm, build my channel. I need you guys to interact. That way I know that you guys are enjoying it and I can spend more time putting effort into these videos and improving the quality and improving the content. But obviously, yeah, it really depends on how you guys interact with my stuff. So if you want to help me build my channel, which I would be really appreciative for, give me a like, give me a follow, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of my content. Everybody that's part of my tribe here, they usually are here for a good reason because we connect through wellness, through health and fitness, through like my fertility journey, through spiritual stuff, especially astrology and tarot. I predominantly post mostly like vlogs and astrology content on here. But I post everything because I'm just quite a versatile person. I have a lot of Gemini energy and I kind of like to show all sides of me, and it is my channel, so you're going to see absolutely everything and possibly anything here on my channel. But today, let's jump into the synastry reading for Post Malone and Taylor Swift. I'm so excited to do this. Like, I just love a good love story and romance, and I love astrology, so the fact that I'm just mixing these two together right now and blending them is so much fun. But let's just jump into talking about Taylor's. I have talked about her planets and placements in the last video, but because this is a brand new video, let's go through it again. I think that Taylor Swift is a Capricorn rising. Please watch the other video so you can kind of see my long-winded explanation for why. I just think if you look back to when she was younger, her hair, her being like tall and very, like her bone structure, and the fact that when she was younger, if you look at like Teardrops on My Guitar and when she brought out her first album, she has that really curly, crazy, wavy hair. She resembles the sea goat, and obviously like your rising sign is your physical body, your physical appearance. So I really think that she is a Capricorn rising, but again, could be wrong. But let's just say for this reading, she is a Capricorn rising, Taylor Swift, and a Sagittarius sun and Cancer moon, Venus in Aquarius, and Mars in Scorpio, Mercury in Capricorn. Beautiful placements there for her. She's got, a mixture of like the air and earth, fire, water. She's got a bit of everything, which is really nice to see. Post Malone. I love this. We don't know his time of birth, so we don't know his house system. We don't know his rising sign, which really agitates me because it's a huge part that we're missing when we're doing a synastry reading. But nonetheless, this is still interesting. We're still going to have a bit of a chat about it. I'm just going to grab a glass of water because I've been smashing out a few videos today, and of course, I can't help myself but to over talk. So I need to like slow down and just have a glass of water and like let's just jump into Post Malone's, right? So he is a Cancer sun. So Taylor has the Cancer moon and he has a Cancer sun. That is beautiful energy that they have. Like, we love seeing that in astrology. We love to see sun moon connections. The other thing is that his Venus is right on the border of like Gemini and Cancer. So his Venus does interact and almost come into a conjunction with her moon. So his planet of love and romance and money is sitting right on top and conjuncting and merging with her planet of emotions and security and home and family. That is interesting. That's a bit of a good combo there. I like that. I think that's really cute energy. So I love that. Post Malone also has his Mercury in Gemini. So that's really cool. Oh, I should have told you guys, I'm so sorry. Taylor Swift's planets are the orange ones on the outside, the outer circle, and then Post Malone's are the blue ones on the inner circle. So his planets and stuff are in the blue, on the inner part. So yeah, he's got that Mercury in Gemini. His moon is in, now we don't know his time of birth, so his moon could technically be in the late degrees of Virgo or the early signs of Libra. I personally don't know him well enough or know much about his story to kind of know whether he would be more of a Virgo or more of a Libra. So yeah, I'll leave that for you guys to kind of tell me below what you kind of think of Post Malone and whether you think he might have more of a moon in Libra or a moon in Virgo. Intuitively, I think that his moon could be in Libra, and that would show someone that's more diplomatic, someone that's more focused on relationships. They find stability through relationships with that Libra kind of placement. Again, the house does kind of change things up, but yeah, I feel like, yeah, it could either be very late in Virgo or it could be a Libra moon. That's kind of my opinion. But I'd love to hear what you guys say. But nonetheless, he does still have his moon very close to Chiron, and he has his Mars there very close to the moon as well. And that is the Chiron and Mars are in Virgo, and Virgo is an earth sign. Virgo energy is very practical. It's very detail focused. They can be really good with like order, routine. Yeah, they're just very focused on detail. So they're very much like to be of service to people. They can be a little bit critical and analytical and a bit of a perfectionist. Whereas Libra, as I said, they're more diplomatic. They're all about peace and harmony and balance, and they're more about like relationships, especially like marriage and romantic relationships. So yeah, I kind of feel like more he could be a Libra. But again, as I said, I don't know him well enough to kind of guess or to kind of know what he would be. But that's really cool. That's kind of his placements. Yeah, I think we spoke about obviously his Venus being on the cusp, his Mercury in Gemini, and then the moon, the Mars. We don't know his rising sign, sun in Cancer, so very interesting. So things that stood out with to me in this reading, basically that sun conjuncts her Taylor Swift's moon, her Jupiter, her Chiron, her part of fortune. So his sun really conjuncts that whole cluster there. His Venus also conjuncts her moon. So I did speak about that a little bit in the introduction, but there's a massive conjunction of all of their, like a lot of their planets, I should say, not all of them, but there's a massive conjunction of a lot of Post Malone's and Taylor Swift's planets there in Cancer, but it's also opposite her stellium of planets in Capricorn. So that's a very interesting dynamic where there's like a merging of so much of that Cancer energy between them, but also his Sun and Venus being opposite her Mercury and Saturn and Uranus and Neptune. And often like oppositions like a tug of war type energy or like kind of a pull between the planets, you know what I mean? So this isn't necessarily like a super bad thing, but it does kind of show that, they need to figure out a way to kind of merge all that energy together. So I think just the way she communicates, because her Mercury's up there, is very different to how he expresses himself, his self-expression, the way he shines, the way he's noticed. With Post Malone's sun being there in Cancer, he's got that very nurturing side to him, and that's kind of how he shines. That's what he's known for. It's a huge part of his identity, and that is very different to Taylor Swift's mind and how she thinks, because that's Mercury and how she communicates. They can be very different there. Again, not a bad thing, but it just shows that, there is that little bit of a difference there. The thing that kind of makes them work well together is that obviously Taylor Swift has that moon, and she's naturally got that in her natal chart where her moon in Cancer is opposite her Mercury. So she definitely has a tug of war between like her private life, her home, her family, her relationships, again, because we think if she is a Capricorn rising, Cancer is her seventh house of relationships and marriage. Keep that in mind, because Post Malone has two planets falling into that seventh house of hers, potentially, of relationships and marriage. Taylor natally has that moon opposite Mercury. So that kind of shows challenges between like her relationships and emotional security, and like writing about them and talking about them, and talking about herself in those relationships, like that tug of war energy. I just thought that was a bit interesting. But again, not always a bad thing, especially because Taylor has her moon there and Post Malone's sun's there. Like there's that connection, but it is opposite Taylor's Mercury. So, and her Saturn and Neptune and Uranus. But yeah, just very interesting dynamic. I just thought I would point that out because that was very interesting. But the other interesting thing is, so right, Taylor's Mercury is opposite Post Malone's sun, right? But then Post Malone's Mercury that's in Gemini is opposite Taylor Swift's sun in Sagittarius. So again, there's that Sun-Mercury opposition. Again, not a bad thing, but just shows that they're a little bit different. Taylor's sun, she shines when she's being, when she's traveling, when she's being like a guru, when she's being a mentor, when she's being free-spirited and adventurous. She shines by being like optimistic and humorous and being really wise and like, just like that Sagittarius energy, right? But that's opposite Post Malone's placements of Mercury. So his Mercury is more curious and like fun and social, and this could be like a really good party placement too. Like Gemini placements are like really fun and social butterflies, but they're really curious, and they're very much like you can see both sides of things. Like, they're often like twins, and often like you think about the yin and the yang and like two sides of a pillar, like duality with Gemini, right? There's always that duality, seeing both sides of things, very curious, right? Whereas Sagittarius energy is more like more wise, more of like the philosopher, right? More like the teacher, the mentor. I know everything. They're more wise. They're usually really strong with their beliefs, really firm beliefs. They're usually like really intellectual and highly like well educated. Not to say that Mercury placements aren't, but it's just like they're kind of different. It's like Mercury gathers like all of the information. Mercury people have a lot of facts about a lot of different things, right? But they're kind of like a jack of all trades. They're very much like doing a lot of different things at once. Like they're very curious and dabble in a lot of different things. Where Sagittarius energy is like they become the master of just like kind of a niche area, or they're very highly educated. They're very wise. They're more of like a philosopher, big picture thinker, where Gemini's like more like small picture thinking, more curious, more just like getting all the facts. So they're very different. They're kind of like the same, but like different, if you know what I mean. So yeah, they have like that opposite in their energy, which I just find super interesting. So like, yeah, just that Sun Mercury opposition for both of them, I just find really fascinating and very interesting. I wonder how that kind of plays out for them. I think that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. I just think that they probably challenge each other in a way that helps them to grow. depending on where Post Malone's like moon is, his moon and Mars can potentially be sending a sextile to Taylor's Mars, which is really cool. Sextiles are like support and opportunities there. So yeah, that is a good aspect to kind of see. A Mars sextile Mars is really great for sex and intimacy. Sorry, I'm just going to help my little boy and then I'll be right back. What do you want, darling? Come on. Do you want your shoes on? Sit down. Sit down. Yeah. Your shoe on. And put this one on. And then Mum will put your shoe back on. Let's go. You got it? Come over here. Go. And I guess so, yeah, that's their Mars. But one other thing that stood out to me is that Post Malone has his Saturn in Pisces, which also means that he's coming in for a Saturn return very soon. Just something random I thought I'd point out. But with his Saturn squaring Taylor's Sun, in like a relationship together, whether it's a friendship or romantic or just like how they interact with each other, that kind of shows that there is a side where Post Malone, his Saturn puts a bit of pressure, a bit of responsibility, a bit of restrictions on Taylor's Sun. And that's a part of her identity. It's how she shines, how she's seen. And that's a square. So there's a square between that Pisces Saturn from Post Malone to Taylor Swift's Sun in Sagittarius. So that can show challenges, conflicts, just it's a harder aspect. Now, this can be internally or externally. Aspects can always play out internally or externally. Obviously, retrogrades are going to show more of an internal process. If a planet's like not in retrograde, it's probably going to be more external. But again, as I said, like sometimes squares and that are not always like actual events and physical things that happen. Sometimes it can just be internally how people are feeling. But I just thought I would point that out, that yeah, there is a bit of a square there. And also Post Malone's potentially his moon, Mars, and Chiron in Virgo. If they are in Virgo, that moon there, they do square her Sun in Sagittarius as well. So again, if it's just Mars, that just shows the way Post Malone takes action, especially when it comes to his wounds and healing. It squares Taylor's Sun, so again, that can just show conflicts and challenges there. So it shows that, you know, when Post Malone, like within their relationship, I guess if they like were romantically linked, that would show that, you know, as they got more into their relationship, there could be challenges the way, you know, Post Malone goes about being a perfectionist and the way he goes about healing his wounds, the way he goes about his actions, because it's Mars. Mars is to do with your actions, your passion, your motivation. And when it's in Virgo, this is more about being a perfectionist and being really like hard on yourself and being very critical because you're like overthinking, overanalyzing things. So yeah, his challenges there, that can cause like a square to Taylor's Sun, which yeah, could be like just impacting like, I guess, her travel, or it could be impacting just like her confidence and optimism. But just, yeah, it impacts her Sun and how she's shining, basically. There's obviously as well some interesting stuff going on with her Venus. So that hits an out of sign, so not in the same sign, because obviously Taylor Swift's Venus is in Aquarius, but Post Malone has his Neptune and Uranus in Capricorn, but it's at the very last degrees of Capricorn, and Taylor Swift's Venus is right at the start. So that kind of makes a conjunction, but it's like an out of sign conjunction because their planets aren't in the same sign. But that just shows that Post Malone can cause a lot of chaos, a lot of sudden changes, a lot of shocks and surprises, and a lot of confusion and a lot of lack of boundaries with Taylor's love, with her planet of love and relationships. So he can have that impact on Taylor, because yeah, when her relationship planet's hitting or being hit by that Uranus and Neptune, there can be a lack of boundaries around the relationship. There can be sudden shocks, there can be change and chaos and all that kind of stuff there, which isn't always a bad thing, but it can be definitely, because of those two planets involved, can definitely be very interesting, to say the least. I'm just trying to see if there's any other like big aspects that are worth kind of talking about, especially like, I guess, their personal planets. So I'm just having a final quick look if there's anything that I haven't really spoken about. I think that's like most of like the really big things that's worthy of mentioning. Yeah, I don't think there's anything major that I've missed. If I have, I'll have to kind of pop something in the comments or mention it in there. Or if you found something you think's interesting that I haven't spoken about, pop it in the comments. But finally, I guess what I would like to talk about is that they do have a bit of husband and wife energy. I mean, Jupiter is the husband. So Taylor Swift's Jupiter in Cancer, it shows that technically, if Jupiter represents the husband in a female's chart and hers is in Cancer, and Post Malone has a sun in Cancer that's conjunct that Jupiter, that does quite literally kind of show husband energy. Like he could be a good fit for her romantically like that. But then Post Malone has his Jupiter in Sagittarius in rulership, which is actually quite close to her Mars. It's outer sign, it's an outer sign conjunction. But yeah, that kind of again shows a husband and wife energy like a little bit. But it's involving kind of his Jupiter and her Mars. But again, that's still a very interesting combination. It kind of means that Jupiter's like Post Malone's Jupiter of like luck and expansion and growth is expanding Taylor's motivation, her Mars, her ambition, her drive, right? So that's a nice connection. But the connection is a little bit more challenging and shows potentially why their relationship could be a little bit tragic as well is Taylor's Mars on top of Post Malone's Pluto, and her Pluto isn't far away from that conjunction either, but by degree, Taylor's Mars is right on top of his Pluto. And Pluto can be transformation, it can be crisis, it can be trauma, it can be power and control issues. And it's in Scorpio, the sign that it rules, and Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio as well, whereas Pluto is the more modern ruler. But regardless, Mars shows like conflict, passion, like it's just having those two planets together are very challenging because like Scorpio is very traumatic and shows a lot of trauma and power and control issues, and Mars shows like conflict and aggression and like fighting. So it's very combative, very competitive. So those energies just don't like merge well when there's a conjunction happening. It can be, yeah, it can show a bit of pain in somebody's chart in a synastry reading. But again, you've got to look at the whole chart, not just like one little aspect. But again, that is one thing that I thought, like even though they've got that husband-wife energy, they do have a bit of an age gap, a little bit of an age gap. But yeah, like that was just like, you know, that could be a bit challenging. But they do have nice energy together. I guess I did do this for Maddie, like when I read Maddie Healy's chart with Taylor Swift and their synastry, I did talk about their north nodes and their north nodes and south nodes for their destiny and life purpose, and also their obviously past life. So the south node represents your past life, if you believe in evolutionary astrology of past lives, and the north node represents your destiny, your future. Again, the north node's like a little horseshoe, like the little end thing, and then The south node's like a little upside down horseshoe, like a little bucket almost. So yeah, you should be able to have a quick look and have a look for those signs. But hers is in Leo, her south node is in Leo, and her north node is in Aquarius. So that's for Taylor. And then when we look at Post Malone has his south node in Taurus. South node in Taurus, north node in Scorpio. So basically it's showing that Taylor's moon sends a trine. So Taylor's moon in Cancer sends a trine to Post Malone's north node in Scorpio, which shows that her emotions and also her as a person could be destined to be part of his future, especially in the sense of being potentially like linked like family. There's just definitely an emotional connection there, whether she is very mothering and nurturing to him, or whether that's literally like her being a prominent female figure in his life, like a romantic partner, and then forming a family together. There is definitely something there because trines show like harmonious energy between the planets, and her moon is trining his north node. So she is destined to be a part of his future or his life in some way, whether that's like a family member, or, as I said, literally them getting together romantically and forming a family, or whether that's her just being very nurturing and motherly to him, just as like a friend. That could be that energy. But either way, there's definitely that connection there if you believe in like life destiny and past lives, which also means that Taylor Swift's moon also sends a sextile, which is opportunities and support, to his south node. The south node is the past life, so your past life that you had, if you believe in past lives and karma. So this shows a link between them in a past life. So Taylor could have been a prominent female figure or somebody that was very nurturing and healing to him in a past life, to Post Malone. She could have been a mother or a wife or just a healer of some sort to him in a past life, like someone that's very nurturing and healing for him. Because again, it was a sextile, so that's more of a positive energy. It shows supports and opportunities. So they definitely had a good connection in a past life, which is really funny because in Maddie Healy's reading that I did, he also had planets that interacted, like her moon was also interacting with his north node and south node as well. So it's very interesting that her moon in this reading as well with Post Malone again is interacting and telling a story of like her connecting with these both of those men in very similar ways, not the exact same, but very similar ways. Her moon is involved with them. I found that very interesting. I guess as well, if you were to look at Post Malone's chart separately, his Venus his Venus would take part in this north node and south node connection, as well as her moon, because like her moon and his Venus are like conjunct, and then obviously both of those planets basically send sextiles and trines to his south node and north node. So with his Venus being involved in this story, it kind of shows, even if you were just looking at his chart separately, it shows that in past lives, he had a romantic relationship that was really helpful and very supportive in a past life, and that he's also destined in this life to find a relationship that is going to be very, very prominent and helpful for his future, that's also tied into his past life, but is going to also propel him into this life and his future and his life purpose in this life. I hope you're following along and that made sense. But yeah, that's just a big connection there. If you want me to do things separately and go more into like the past life for like showing through Taylor's chart and then separately through his chart, and then like obviously coming back to talking to them how they interact together for like their past life, I'm happy to do that, but it'd be in a separate video because it's like a lot to talk about all in one video. So yeah, there's that connection. But then if we have a look at, say, Taylor's north node, Post Malone's Mercury that's in Gemini trines her north node, so her life purpose, her destiny, that shows that there's definitely some communication. There's something that they're going to do together. Like Post Malone is going to write something, he's going to collab, he's going to say something, that they're going to talk, whether it's a song, a poem, a book, something that they write, something that they do where they're talking together. Because Gemini is like your voice, it's talking, it's writing, and that could be writing, you know, a book, or it could be writing songs, it could be writing poetry, it could be writing on social media or doing something on social media, because Gemini also rules social media as well. But there's something that Post Malone is going to do with his Mercury that is going to benefit and help Taylor Swift's North Node, like her life purpose, her destiny. It's going to, they're going to work together. So there's something that he's going to do. And that could have been them working together on the Tortured Poets department on that song. Or there could even be more stuff to come. We don't know. Like, we know Taylor is very mysterious and likes to play around with her fans, but maybe they will do more songs in the future, or maybe they'll do more writing together. I don't know. But that's just, if you believe in life purpose and destiny, that's kind of what's being shown there. Then if we look at that Leo South Node for her, that obviously sextiles that Mercury. So again, that shows in a past life that they had a strong communication connection. They could have been writers together. They could have written books. They could have written songs, poetry. There was just something that they did together in a past life that was very supportive and very helpful for Taylor's past life. It's something that Post Malone did with her with writing that was very beneficial in her past life, especially for her as a performer, as an artist, because it is in Leo. Her South Node, her past life is in Leo. So she was like famous or royal, or she was like a performer. No surprise. I definitely think she was like a singer or something in a past life, poet, a singer, something creative like that. I often say that we can reincarnate and we have very similar lives, but we try and obviously reach that life purpose because there's something that, you know, we did in a past life or something that happened that didn't allow us to fully reach that purpose. So we kind of come back to kind of finish it off. And apparently a lot of the stuff that happens in our past life is very similar and kind of repeats in our next life. So a lot of people do have a lot of deja vu. A lot of people do have similar events happen in their past life that happen in the current life that they're in now, and their destiny and their life purpose. So all kind of interrelates a little bit. I'm just seeing if there's any other South Node, North Node connections, but I don't think there was. Mostly just Post Malone's Mercury to Taylor's North Node, South Node, and then obviously with his North Node, South Node, it was like her moon. I think that was pretty much. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was all. I think Taylor Swift's Venus, actually, so her Aquarius Venus actually forms a square with Post Malone's South Node. I kind of missed that because I didn't actually put into the computer to show aspects for the South Node and North Node. But I was just looking then, her Venus is in the very early degrees of Aquarius. So that's like you go 1, 2, 3 signs to Taurus, and his South Node is very early degrees of Taurus, which means her Venus squares his South Node. So that shows that Taylor could have been a love interest in his past life, and there was a bit of challenge. There was something that went wrong between their relationship. There was something that potentially Taylor did with their love and their relationship that caused him a lot of pain in the past life. But yeah, I think that's the only other thing that I missed, which means that that would also square her Venus in Aquarius would also square his North Node. So if they were to be romantically related, Taylor Swift would probably, her love language or something to do with money, more so I'm pretty sure it'd be the way like their romantic life. If they were in a romantic relationship, Taylor Swift's love language, that Venus in Aquarius, there could be something that she does that's very rebellious or something that could be very hurtful towards Post Malone and his future and his destiny, his life purpose. That's very, it's Scorpio energy, his North Node. So that could be very traumatic and painful for him. But yeah, that's pretty much all I really see in their like their synastry and like the North Node, South Node connections. Thank you for hanging in there. I hope you guys had snacks and had a hot drink or like a glass of wine or something so that you could get through all this. I know I do chat a lot, but thanks for hanging in there. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, as I said, please help me. Give me a thumbs up, give me a like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you don't miss anything. Help me work with the algorithm and grow my channel. I would love to hit like 100 followers, 1,000 followers. It'd be absolutely amazing. But until then, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.